Hey guys, so today we are moving along to lesson 5.2 on proportions. So before we start actually writing and solving proportions, we're going to start by just deciding, are two things proportional? Are they the same? Are they equivalent? By looking at the comparison of two ratios. So we're going to look at this first problem. It says, tell whether the two ratios are equivalent. If they are not, change the next day to make the ratios equivalent. So it says, on the first day, you pay $5 for 2 boxes of popcorn. The next day, you pay $7.50 for 3 boxes of popcorn. So there are a couple ways we can determine if we're paying the same amount. But coming off of yesterday's lesson, what you should think to do is maybe find the unit rate. How much did you pay for 1 box of popcorn in each situation? If you divide 5 by 2, on the first day, you paid $2.50 per box. If you divide $7.50 by 3, that next day, you paid $2.50 per box. So these two ratios are equivalent because they both reduce to $2.50 or $2.50 for 1 box. Okay, because of that, these would create a proportion. 5 over 2 and 7.5 over 3 are proportional. They are the same. So this would be a fair situation. So when we're talking about determining whether things are proportional or not, we have different methods that we can use. The first, because we're looking at ratios as being fractions, we can just decide, are they equivalent fractions by using common denominator if that's an option, or potentially simplifying if that's an option. The second method would be finding unit rate, dividing so that the denominator is 1 so that you're finding the cost per something or the miles per something. Whatever we're comparing, we're reducing technically to something over 1 to see if they're the same. The third method, and this is the method we're going to focus on because this is probably the new learning for you, would be using cross products. To use cross products, you probably have seen this in the past as the butterfly method. You're just multiplying on the diagonal. So A over B equals C over D. The cross products would be AD, A times D, and then C times B. And you want to see, are the cross products equivalent? If the cross products of two ratios are equal, then it forms a proportion. So 2 over 3 equals 4 over 6. If we wanted to determine, are those ratios a proportion, you would multiply 6 times 2 and 3 times 4. 2 times 6 is 12. And 12 does equal 12, 3 times 4. So I would say yes, those two ratios are equivalent. They are proportional to each other. Okay, let's look at a few more examples. So we're going to look at these 4 and determine whether the two rates form a proportion. So the first one that they give you is 5 feet in 4 hours, and they want to know if it's proportional to 15 feet in 12 hours. So I'm going to start by writing my two ratios. 5 over 4. And I want to know, is it equal to, so I'm going to put just like a little question mark up top because I'm not trying to say that they are equal, to 15 over 12. Now, here's an example where it would be good to just use equivalent fractions. You can reduce 15 over 12 by dividing the top and bottom by 3. If you divide the top and bottom by 3, you would end up with 5 over 4. So that tells you right there they are equivalent. If you want to stick to the cross product method and you're just going to multiply on the diagonal, you would have to do 5 times 12 and 15 times 4. 5 times 12 would give you 60, and 4 times 15 would give you 60. Again, that's a second method to determine that they are in fact proportional because their cross products are equivalent. So either method would be fine. To 15 pages in 70 minutes. So let's go ahead and set up our ratios as being 8 over 40. And we want to see if that would be equivalent to 15 over 70. Are they the same ratio? Are they proportional? So for these, where I would probably start would be simplifying them because they both can be pretty easily reduced. We know 8 over 40, if we divide top and bottom by 8, that's going to reduce to 1 over 5. For 15 over 70, we know both of them can be divided by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 70 divided by 5 is 14. So my two fractions I'm left with are 1/5 and 3/14. We know very easily that those are not equivalent fractions. So just based off that, we can say that they are not proportional. Again, if you like to use cross products as your option, you can still do that if you want to default to that, especially since you'll be using a calculator, that's fine. So if you want to multiply 40 times 15, that would give you 600. I don't know if my yellow is hard to see here. And then 70 times 8 is 560. So because 560 does not equal 600, their cross products are not equivalent, you would say that these two ratios are not proportional. Okay, let's look at two more. 3 pounds for $3.75, $3.75, compared to 5 pounds for $6.50. Again, we can probably just reduce these by dividing and finding unit rate. So if we divide 3 by 3 and 375 by 3, that's going to give us 1 over $1.25. Same thing with the other one. If we divide the top and bottom by 5, we're going to get 1 over $1.30. So you can use that method of unit rate, which would also be somewhat simplifying fractions. If you chose to use cross products for this one, you would do 375 times 5 to get this diagonal here. That would give you 18.75. If you did then 6.5 or 650 times 3, that's going to give you 19.5. So again, their cross products are not equivalent, therefore they are not proportional. So far we found that the first one is a yes, the second one is a no, the third one is a no. Let's look at just one more example together. 2 cups in 4 servings and 5 cups in 10 servings. Now I'm hoping that you see a relationship between these two kind of right off the bat. Both of these can be simplified to 1/2. So we know that they are proportional. So this would be a yes. If you didn't use that method and you use cross products, 10 times 2 is 20, 4 times 5 is 20. Again, their cross products are equivalent, therefore they are equivalent or they are proportional. So this would be an example of a proportional relationship as well. Okay, I'd like you to try this one on your own. So take a minute to pause this. Tell whether 6 over 4 and 8 over 12 form a proportion. So you're going to start by just writing your ratios. Any method you choose, if you want to simplify these or use cross products, you can. Pause the video for 1 second, use either method, and decide whether or not they are proportional. Okay, you should have found that no, these are not proportional. If you use the cross products method, 12 times 6 is 72, 4 times 8 is only 32. If you simplified these, this would really simplify to 3 over 2, and 8 over 12, if you divided the top and bottom by 4, would simplify to 2 over 3. Notice how this is an improper fraction, and this would just be a regular fraction. So that alone should tell you that they're not proportional. An improper fraction is obviously going to be larger than a regular fraction. So no matter what method you choose, you are just determining whether or not they are equivalent, and then do they form a proportion.